In this video, we're going to make the ball start bouncing when it hits something. So go ahead and select the ball for a moment. And then over here in the inspector, you can see that there is a space for material in the Circle Collider 2D. And right now it says none, physics material 2D. There's no material for this. We're going to create a material, a bouncy material, and attach it to the ball here. The way we're going to do that is over here in the project, click Assets, and then we're going to right click and choose Create Folder, and this is going to be called Materials. And then I'm going to double click on that to go in there, and then I'm going to right click again, choose Create Physics 2D Material, and I'm going to call it Bouncy. Over here in the inspector now with Bouncy selected, you can see friction is 0.4 and bounciness is 0. Well, 0 sounds to me like no bouncy, so let's go ahead and put some bounce in here, and we'll say 0.2. Now, these numbers run from 0 to 1, so everything is going to be a point something in there, or all the way to 1 or 0. Let's just go with that for now and play this and try it. See what happens. Oh, there was no stinking bounce there at all. Okay, let's do this up to 0.8 just to see if that's going to fix it. It didn't fix it. Okay, what is the problem? Here's the problem. We created this material. We gave it some bounciness. And we'll just go back down here to 0.2. But we didn't do anything with the material. We didn't say, hey, use this material for the ball. Okay, so select the ball. The bouncy material is still showing here. So now there's two things you can do. Number one is you can grab it and drag it over and drop it right in there. You can see that that changes color when it is ready to be dropped on there. Or you can just click this little dot next to this field. This is going to come up. Double click on that, and you can see that now it says bouncy inside there. All right, now let's give it a shot. All right, we got a little bit of a bounce, but let's go ahead and change that to 0.8 just to see what the difference is. Oh, way big difference. Okay, that's huge. That's huge, and that's probably way too much. So let's go with about a 0.4, and of course, you can play with this as much as you want, so you can get a ball that bounces just right for you. All right, so we have added material to that, and we're going to come back to materials also in a few moments. But right now, go back to sprites, and let's get a board up there. Let's get a plank up there that this ball can bounce off of. So here in the list, find plank sprite, and just drag it up here and drop it anywhere you want. Remember, we can use the little widgets here to move it around, and we can also switch to our rotate tool to move it however we like. So let's go ahead and put it just like that. Grab the ball again, put it up above this. If I hit the play button, what's going to happen? If you said the ball is going to pass right through the plank, then you get a gold star. And why is that? That's because this plank doesn't have a rigid body or a collider on it yet. So we are going to add that. We're going to add just a collider, and it's going to be a box collider because this is basically kind of a square. And let me go ahead and zoom in on that. And the way I did that was it was selected over here. The arrow was inside this window, and I just hit the F key on my keyboard for focus, and it zoomed in on that. So this actually looks pretty good, the square around it. I actually want it a little bit smaller, but that's just me because I'm picky. So I'm going to go right over here where it says size for the box collider, and I'm going to kind of hover over the X. You see how the cursor changes with the little arrows. I'm going to click and drag, and as I drag this way, you can see that the green box over there gets smaller. As I drag that way, it gets bigger. So I'm going to pull it in just to the edges of, there we go, of that. And for the Y, I'm going to do the same thing. You can make it as small as you want. I want it to be right underneath the edges there. All right, so perfect. And I'm going to zoom back out here. Let me center back up. All right, let's go ahead and hit play. Nice. All right, so what if we want to have some more boards up here? We can drag more boards out here, drop them in there. We can add the collider to it and change the size of the collider and so on. But there's a better way, and it's called Prefab. So let me get rid of this one in there. So we've got this plank sprite 0. I'm going to change the name of it, and I can do that with the editor right here. I'm just going to call it plank. All right, so we've got plank up there. Down here in assets, right click, choose create folder, and this one's going to be called Prefabs. Prefabs, prefabs, because we're going to put prefabricated items in there. What's a prefabricated item? Double click to go in there. This plank that we already put together and gotten exactly the right stuff we wanted on it, the box collider 2D, and tweaked that and everything. I'm going to drag that down into the prefabs folder and drop and let go. And now we have this plank that is there. And when I drag that prefab into here, it's exactly like the one that we've set up originally. It even has the box collider 2D on it. It is all ready to go. Now, what I probably should have done was unrotated it so that we have a straight plank. And I can actually do that right now. Let's go ahead and I'm just going to change this to 0 instead of tweaking it by hand. And now I've changed this, but how can I change the prefab so that when I drag another one out, they're all this way? Right up in here in the inspector, you can see this is prefab, select, revert, apply. I'm going to hit apply. And now the next time I drag a prefab of this plank out, look at that. It's straight and cool, just the way we want it. All right, and these act just the way they should, with physics on them and everything. Before you go on to the next video, you ought to take some time to play around with this, get some more planks out here, change them around a little bit. Let's see, you can select them and then rotate them. We can get the ball and move it up higher so it drops more. Let's see what this is going to do. Okay, and we could take this one, drag it over here, and we might need to tilt that. I'm not sure if the ball has enough sideways on it. No, we want to tilt that, so we'll hit the tilty thing. We'll do this. We could add another plank there and another plank there. What do we got going on here? All right, cool. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so play around with this thing and throw some planks up there and rotate them and see what you can get the ball to do before we go on to the next video. And that one we're going to see how to put together ice bricks. So instead of just the planks, we're going to have ice, and of course it's going to be much slipperier than just a plain old plank.